The great halls of the Galactic Council were quiet, too quiet. Usually, the voices of hundreds of species filled the chambers with chatter, arguments, and laughter. Today, there was only confusion. Representatives from the largest and smallest star nations stared at each other, uneasy. Something had changed. Something was missing. For centuries, humans had been part of the council. Not always friendly, not always trusted, but humans were a force the galaxy could not ignore. Traders, diplomats, soldiers, and explorers, they were everywhere. And now, suddenly, they were gone. Every human ship had vanished from known space. Every human outpost had gone silent. Even the smallest settlements in the outer reaches of the galaxy had been abandoned. Elena Brooks, the last human ambassador in the chamber, had left a simple note. It said only, "We will not stand in your way. The choice is yours." No explanation. No warning, just a silent departure. The council members read the message over and over, hoping to find some hidden meaning. There was none. Councillor Velk, from the Jari species, was the first to speak. His voice was sharp, nervous. "Do you all understand what this means? The humans have withdrawn from the galaxy. All of them. Gone. No fleets, no trade, no ambassadors, nothing." The council chamber erupted in whispers. Councillor Rena of the Yalari, a species known for its calm and reason, shook her head. "They cannot just leave. Not without reason. There must be an explanation. Or," Councillor Velk said with a growl, "they have decided we are not worth their protection." The silence that followed was heavy. For years, the council had relied on humans as peacekeepers. Not because humans wanted to be, but because they were always there. Whenever a conflict seemed unstoppable, humans would intervene quietly. They never sought reward. And often, they did not even take credit. They just acted. And now they were gone. Far from the council's chambers, on a small observation station in the outer rim, Captain Aaron Wolf sat in the dim light of the bridge. His station had no influence in the council, no fleets to command, and no grand speeches to make. But Aaron had something else. He had eyes on the void. And the void had something to show him. "Sir," his assistant, Mira Collins, said, pointing at the holographic star map. "There's a fleet moving toward the council space. We don't recognize it. Its formation doesn't match any known species. It isn't even following standard warplanes." Aaron leaned forward, his eyes narrowed. "Run the identification codes. Compare it to historical fleets, old records, anything." Mira shook her head. "Nothing matches. I've checked every database." Aaron's stomach tightened. "Then, we're looking at something new. Or something very old. Either way, they are headed straight for the core worlds." Meanwhile, on a hidden moon far beyond the edges of known space, humans moved in silence. Lydia Carter, commander of a small research and defense team, activated a network of ancient monitoring satellites. These satellites had been built decades ago, and most of the galaxy had forgotten they even existed. "Status report," Lydia said. Her voice was calm, but there was tension underneath. Lieutenant Sam Parker, her second in command, replied, "All systems operational. We are tracking multiple fleets in real time. Some are small, but one is very large. We have confirmed it is heading toward council territory." Lydia studied the readings. She had expected something like this. Humans had left, but they had not abandoned the galaxy completely. Not yet. The threat was coming, and they would be ready, but quietly, unseen, as always. "We cannot warn the council," Lydia said softly. "They would not listen. We left for a reason." Back at the council, arguments had begun. Council members shouted across the chamber, voices echoing off the high domes. "They are gone," Councillor Vekra of the Forland species yelled. "They could have warned us, and now we are blind." "We are not blind," Councillor Rena said, her voice steady. "We still have our fleets. We still have our technology. Humans were useful, yes. But we can manage without them. Counselor Velk laughed bitterly. Manage? You call this managing? Without humans, we cannot even predict the movements of our enemies. They always saw what we could not. And now, it seems, the universe will teach us the hard way. The council chamber fell into uneasy silence again. It was true. Humans had always been unpredictable. But that unpredictability came with results. Battles won before they began. Conflicts ended before they escalated. Solutions discovered before anyone else thought of them. And now, all of that was gone. At the same time, Captain Aaron Wolf received more data. The unknown fleet was enormous, far larger than any single council fleet. It moved with perfect coordination, as if all ships were controlled by one mind. Aaron's heart sank. Alert the council, he said. Send every message, every transmission. They need to know this is coming. But he knew it might be too late. Humans had left for a reason, and history had taught him to trust their judgment. The galaxy was not ready. And soon, something terrible would arrive. Back on the hidden moon, Lydia Carter gathered her team. The council ignored our warnings for decades, she said. Every attempt to advise them on enemy movements, every time we tried to prevent disaster, they dismissed us. They laughed at our tactics, mocked our strategies, and now, the consequences will fall on them, but not on us. Lieutenant Sam Parker frowned. Do we really want to let this happen? Innocent people will die. They always do, Lydia said quietly, and we will be ready to act when the time is right. But for now, we watch and wait. Silence is our weapon. Days passed. Rumors spread across council space. Ships went missing at the borders. Trade convoys were attacked. But no one could identify the attackers. Panic began to grow. Some council worlds began evacuations. Others fortified their defenses. But the scale of the incoming threat was beyond imagination. Elena Brooks' simple note haunted every counselor's mind. We will not stand in your way. The choice is yours. What had seemed like a polite departure now looked like a calculated decision. Humans had left. Humans had withdrawn. And now the council had no one left to rely on. Meanwhile, Aaron Wolf observed the unknown fleet continuing its approach. The ships were silent. They did not respond to signals, did not communicate, and seemed completely unconcerned by council defenses. They know we are here, Mira said, and they don't care. Aaron leaned back in his chair, a heavy feeling in his chest. No human is here to intervene. No one is going to save them. The council will have to face this alone. In the outer darkness of the galaxy, human teams prepared quietly. Ships were readied. Weapons calibrated. Satellites activated. Every movement was silent. Every action was precise. Humans had withdrawn, yes, but they were not gone. They were waiting. Watching. Planning. Lydia Carter looked at the stars. Somewhere ahead, a storm was coming. But when it arrived, the storm would meet the human hand, sharp and unyielding. Let them come, she said softly. Let them see what they lost. And in that quiet, the galaxy held its breath. For humans had disappeared. But the universe had not forgotten them. The silence of humanity was not defeat. It was a warning. And soon, the council would learn what that silence truly meant. The council worlds were in chaos. Panic spread like wildfire across the core systems. Evacuation shuttles filled spaceports. Cargo ships were hastily repurposed as transport vessels, and fleet commanders shouted orders that could not be followed. Every day without humans made the galaxy weaker. Counselor Velk of the Jari species slammed his claws on the table. This is what happens when you ignore the humans. They warned us for decades. Every time we dismissed them, we thought we were clever. Counselor Rena, ever calm, tried to reason. We cannot undo what is done. We can still organize a defense. If we combine every fleet in the inner system, we might have a chance to delay the enemy until reinforcements arrive. Velk laughed bitterly. Reinforcements? From whom? The humans left. We are all we have. And that is not enough. On the observation station in the Outer Rim, Captain Aaron Wolfe and his assistant Mira Collins continued to monitor the approaching fleet. Its size was enormous. Thousands of ships moved with flawless precision. They are not just attacking, Mira said, pointing at the display. They are surveying. They are calculating. They know what they will meet. They are professionals, warriors. Aaron's stomach tightened. Then they are not random raiders. They are a military force. And whatever they want, it will be absolute. Mira frowned. Should we send another warning to the council? Aaron shook his head. It won't help. They still do not understand the humans' purpose. They will try to act on their own, and it will not end well. He turned back to the star map. I just hope the humans know what they are doing. Otherwise, billions of lives are about to be lost. Meanwhile, on the hidden moon, Lydia Carter gathered her team. They were humans, but these were not ordinary soldiers. They were veterans of countless conflicts, trained in ways the galaxy could not imagine. They moved quietly, checked systems, monitored satellites, and studied the incoming threat. Commander, Lieutenant Sam Parker said, the enemy is not slowing down. At this rate, they will reach the core worlds in 3 solar cycles. Lydia nodded. Good. That is exactly the amount of time we need. The council has to feel the weight of their mistakes. They need to understand why we left. Parker frowned. Are we sure this is the right way? Innocent lives. Lydia's eyes were firm. We will protect them when it is necessary. But for now, the lesson must be learned. The council ignored us, laughed at our warnings, and mocked our strategies. The galaxy cannot survive if it continues to ignore the humans who care. Her team understood. Silence had always been humanity's weapon. Now, it was the tool to teach the council humility. Back at the council, fleets were already failing. The first skirmishes had occurred at the borders of council space. Outposts were destroyed in hours. Ships were disabled, and communication lines severed. The unknown fleet moved with terrifying speed and accuracy. Council Arena turned to Velk. We need to act fast. Combine every available fleet. We may not stop them, but we can slow them down. Velk shook his head. Slow them down? We can't even hold a single system for more than a few hours. Our pilots are confused. Our ships are scattered. Without humans, we cannot organize an effective strategy, the counselors argued. Some wanted to negotiate. Some wanted to fight. And some wanted to surrender. The absence of humans had fractured unity, in a way that no enemy could have done alone. Captain Aaron Wolfe continued to watch from the rim of space. He noticed something the council had not. The enemy ships were not just attacking, they were probing. They attacked the weakest points first, studied the defenses, and then adjusted their attack patterns. They are learning faster than we are, Mira said. They are almost anticipating our moves. Aaron nodded grimly. This is why humans withdrew. If the council tries to fight without us, they will be destroyed. Every single system. And then what? The galaxy falls into chaos. On the hidden moon, Lydia Carter monitored the same enemy. She had prepared for this moment for years. Every sensor, every satellite, every weapon system was ready. We will not act yet, she said. We observe. We wait. The council needs to reach the point where they realize what they have lost. Her team moved like shadows, invisible and precise. They watched the enemy fleets tear through council defenses, studied every movement, and collected data that would be invaluable when it was time to act. We can't just stay silent forever, Parker said. We will act when it matters, Lydia said. Not a moment before. Timing is everything. Counselor Velk walked through the council halls, observing the panic around him. Citizens and officials alike were trying to evacuate, but the fleet was faster than anything the council could manage. Systems collapsed, trade lines were cut, and entire cities went dark. Where are the humans? Velk shouted at his aides. Where are they when we need them? This was their job. They always protected us. They left for a reason, sir, an aide replied quietly. Maybe we ignored them. Maybe we didn't deserve their help. Velk turned sharply. We do not deserve anything from them. They are humans, yes, but they owe us nothing. And yet, they always saved us. Until now. On one of the Council's core worlds, Commander Ethan Brooks, Elena's brother, watched the approaching enemy fleet through the city's orbital observatory. Unlike the Councilors, he understood humans. They are not attacking recklessly, Ethan said to the officers around him. They are professionals. They are testing the Council. They are making us realize our mistakes before they arrive in full force. One officer frowned. You mean, humans are behind this? Ethan shook his head. Not yet. They are watching. Waiting. They withdrew to make a point. They are silent because the Council needs to face the consequences of its arrogance. The officers were stunned. None had seen this coming. Humans were always unpredictable. But this level of strategy was beyond anything the galaxy had ever known. Meanwhile, the enemy fleet grew larger and more aggressive. Border worlds fell quickly, and reports of mass casualties reached the Council in real time. Panic became fear. Fear became despair. Council Arena tried to organize a meeting with all remaining fleet commanders. We need to focus, she said. We cannot stop the fleet, but we can protect the core worlds. Hold at least one system. Buy time for evacuation. Velk laughed bitterly. Hold? You cannot even hold a single moon. Every plan fails. Every fleet fails. We are powerless without the humans, Rena sighed. She knew he was right. The Council had grown complacent. They had relied on humans for too long. And now, the galaxy was paying the price. Far from the panic, on the hidden moon, Lydia Carter and her team continued to observe. The Council is learning slowly, she said. But they are learning. That is what matters. They need to see that humans were never just soldiers or diplomats. Humans were guardians. And guardians do not act until the moment is right. Sam Parker looked at her. And when will that moment come? Lydia smiled faintly. When the Council reaches the edge of destruction. When they realize that the galaxy cannot survive without human intervention. Then we act. Not for glory. Not for power. But because it is the right thing to do. Her team nodded. They understood. Humans had always acted this way quietly. Efficiently. And only when necessary. The Council worlds continued to fall, one by one. Entire fleets were destroyed. Border colonies were wiped out. Panic became terror. Leaders argued endlessly, while the enemy advanced with terrifying precision. Ethan Brooks looked at the situation reports and shook his head. If the humans do not return soon, the Council will be destroyed, and the galaxy may never recover. The lesson was clear. Humans had left for a reason. Silence was their message. And the Council, for all its pride and power, had finally begun to understand what it had lost. As the enemy drew closer to the core worlds, the galaxy braced for destruction. Yet somewhere, beyond the knowledge of the Council and the enemy, humans waited, watching, preparing, knowing that when the moment came, they would act not because the Council asked, not because the galaxy begged, but because it was the right thing to do. And in that waiting, the universe held its breath. The Council worlds were on the edge of collapse. Evacuation fleets crowded every spaceport. Cities had fallen silent. Communication lines were destroyed. Panic and despair filled every corner of the galaxy. No one had ever seen such destruction, and no one knew how to stop it. Councillor Velk stomped across the chamber, his claws clicking on the polished floor. We are finished. Every fleet has been destroyed. Every border world has fallen. Humanity abandoned us. And now we are powerless. Councillor Rena stood quietly, her eyes on the view screen. Perhaps humanity never abandoned us, she said softly. Perhaps they are waiting for the right moment. He know. Velk laughed bitterly. Waiting? They left us to die. Do you think they will save us now? Do you think humans care about the Council after all we have done? Come. Rena did not answer. She only watched the space beyond the core worlds. Far from the panic and chaos, in the quiet darkness of the outer rim, human fleets moved silently. Thousands of ships, sleek and deadly, emerged from hidden paths through space. They had been waiting, hidden in the void, observing the Council's failure and the enemy's approach. Commander Ethan Brooks, Elena's brother, stood on the bridge of one of the largest human ships. His eyes scanned the fleet, calm and focused. Prepare for engagement, he said. The Council is about to learn what humanity is truly capable of. Lieutenant Sam Parker nodded. All ships ready, Commander. Weapons systems online, navigation secure. Fleet is fully coordinated. Lydia Carter, from her hidden Moon Command station, monitored the movements. This is the moment, she said. The enemy believes the galaxy is theirs. They have no idea what is coming. In the Council's chamber, a sudden alert flashed across the main screen. Every counselor froze. A human ship had appeared in orbit of the nearest core world. Then another. And another. Hundreds of human ships blinked into existence across the void, moving with perfect coordination. Velk's claws trembled. Impossible. How did they? Rena stepped forward. They never left. They were waiting for us to see what happens when the Council ignores their warnings. The humans did not broadcast messages. They did not negotiate. They simply appeared. A silent wall of force that no enemy could ignore. The enemy fleet, confident from weeks of destruction, continued its assault. They did not notice the human ships at first, but as the humans moved into position, everything changed. Commander Ethan Brooks gave the order. Engage. With precise movements, human warships opened fire. Energy beams cut through the enemy lines like knives through silk. Ships that had terrified the Council moments before now fell apart under the perfect coordination of human tactics. On the Council worlds, citizens watched in disbelief. The humans had returned not because the Council begged, not because they needed glory, but because they knew what was right. Lieutenant Sam Parker reported, "Enemy flagship detected. They are attempting to regroup, but they are disorganized. Our counterattack is flawless." Ethan nodded. "Do not hold back. Strike with precision, but minimize civilian casualties. Humans do not fight to destroy everything. They fight to protect what is innocent." As the human fleet advanced, the enemy tried to respond, but it was too late. Every movement had been predicted. Every attack was countered. By the time the enemy realized what was happening, their fleet was already in chaos. In the Council chambers, Velk and Rena watched the battle unfold. Velk's claws were white from gripping the table. This is unbelievable. Humans saved us." Rena nodded. "Yes, they saved us. Not for us, not for the Council, but because it was the right thing to do. That is humanity." Velk's voice was quiet. "And we nearly destroyed everything by ignoring them, by being arrogant, by thinking we could manage without their guidance." Rena did not answer. She could only watch as the humans performed what seemed like miracles in space. Back in the battle, Commander Ethan Brooks focused on the enemy flagship. "It is the leader," he said. "Destroy it, and the rest will scatter." Lieutenant Parker confirmed. Weapons locked, targeting complete. Ethan gave the order. Fire. A precise volley of energy struck the enemy flagship. Explosions tore through its hull. The flagship disintegrated in moments, leaving the remaining enemy ships in disarray. Some tried to retreat, but the human fleet cut off their escape routes. Within hours, the enemy fleet was either destroyed or forced to flee. The Council's worlds were safe, and the citizens slowly began to emerge from hiding. After the battle, human ships did not linger. They repaired the damaged colonies silently, rescued civilians where needed, and then disappeared as quietly as they had arrived. Commander Ethan Brooks sent a single message to the Council. It appeared across every communication channel. Elena Brooks's voice was calm and firm. "We warned you. We withdrew so you could see your own fragility. We did not act because you asked, or because you begged. We acted because it was the right thing to do. Remember this lesson." With that, the humans left once more. Their presence had been a warning and a rescue, but they did not seek praise or reward. Their actions were not for glory, they were for the protection of life itself. Counselor Velk sank into his seat, exhausted and humbled. We almost destroyed ourselves, and humans saved us. We ignored their warnings, and we nearly paid the ultimate price. Rena placed a hand on his shoulder. We must rebuild differently. We must respect the humans' wisdom and remember their lesson. The galaxy cannot survive without humility and cooperation. The Council began to organize reconstruction, slowly but carefully. Humanity had returned the galaxy to safety, and the Council now understood that their survival depended on more than arrogance or pride. On the hidden moon, Lydia Carter watched the reports of the battle. Her team prepared to withdraw. "It is done," she said. "The galaxy has learned the lesson. The humans acted, and it was enough." Sam Parker smiled faintly. "Do you think they understand now?" Lydia nodded. Some will. Some will forget. But those who remember will carry the lesson forward. That is all we can do." In the void of space, human fleets moved silently, leaving no trace. They did not seek recognition. They did not seek power. They acted with purpose and precision. And then they vanished once more. Commander Ethan Brooks looked at the stars. "We protect when necessary. We intervene when required. And we leave when the lesson is learned. Humanity is not here to conquer. Humanity is here to guide." The galaxy slowly returned to normal, but everything had changed. The Council was humbled. Citizens learned to respect the humans they had once taken for granted. And the universe remembered the lesson. Humanity, though silent, was unstoppable when it chose to act. And so, in the quiet of space, humanity withdrew again, leaving behind a galaxy that had been saved, not by luck, not by chance, but by the courage, wisdom, and discipline of a species that refused to ignore what was right. The silence of humans was no longer absence. It was power, purpose, and warning all at once.